I'm headed out to the shed to film. This is never a good sign. This usually means Jess is in there shipping live show stuff, which we did really well on this week, but I gotta get in there. All right, I figured I'd come out in this cabin and snap a few more pictures. I was out here earlier today, but since Jess is shipping that live show, I'm not one for wasting time. I can get some listings done really quick. And I figured I'd take a topic from later in the video and just put it out here right now so I don't have to film it later because she's in there. So the first, well, it's not the first one. There's two other topics I want to get to today, but this one is about the new feature with automatically dropping your listing prices. I have got a lot of questions about it. I have not been doing it. I don't have any immediate plans to do it. I like the system that I have, but I am curious if anybody out there is doing this right now. I want to know if you're doing it. Do you do it on all your listings? I have not done it. I don't even know the process for doing it. But since I get on YouTube and yap about stuff, I figured I would at least put this out there for y'all to tell me. I do send offers. People ask me all the time about best offers. I don't do best offers, although I put it on a few items from time to time, depending on what there are, especially ones that I might not know the value of. But that's pretty rare, like maybe, I'd say less than 1% of my listings. Probably half that, but you get the point. I do send offers out all the time. I send offers out almost as quickly as I have the availability to do it. I am different than most folks. I usually send out a 5% offer because I price right there in a very competitive range, and I'll send that out, and I don't want to lose too much money. I also don't promote listings, but I'm curious to know out there if you have tried this new feature or not. And if you have tried the new feature, I know there is a stop to it, like drop it so much per whatever. So you can put, you know, the dollar amount, I'm assuming, not percentage, and how often it drops, every week, every month, every whatever. And then there's a limit, like don't drop it below this price. I don't know. It's probably something eBay should have done, I think. I think this is probably helpful for some folks. I don't think I'm going to do it in the near future, but I could change my mind. All right, looks like she's still not done. We'll go in there and bug her here for a second, but maybe not. Maybe I'll go inside and list the ones I just snapped pictures of. But I have two other topics. Commerce-Tainment is one thing I want to talk about today. It's a term I heard Gary Vee use the other day, and I think it's interesting. And the next one is I've been making mistakes at a higher clip than I've made in a long time, and it is costing me money. I think I have already doubled the amount of shipping mistakes that I made this year over last year, and we still have 5 months to go. Let's surprise her. How's it going?
Hi.
Are you done?
I'm done with Heather's.
Perfect timing.
Yep.
All these are stamping up, y'all. Thank you, Jess.
And she got a whopping refund of $22.51.
All right, very good. Appreciate it. I'll turn on all my lights and I'll turn the camera back on. We get a new visitor in here. How you doing, bud? I turned the AC off there. I'm going to get to all these topics today. I'm going to reference this later, so I'm just going to say this now since Jess was just in here. This is 3 boxes of Stampin' Up stuff. Technically, it's not all Stampin' Up, but there's a good bit of it in there that was. I was at a yard sale the other day. It hadn't come out on the Picker channel. I think I spent $130 on a massive amount. This right here, imagine this. Imagine 4 to 6 more boxes that size alone. And we sold a little bit more off today, so I spent $130. Just today's sale, and we still have like number 7 boxes. I think we filled up like 6 more of those. And we've listed a few things on eBay just because I don't even know why we did it, to be honest with you. They look like brand new sets and whatever. I'm like, just throw a couple on eBay, but we're not going to get through all this. This can take forever. We're going to pass it on to somebody who specializes on this, and that's exactly what happened. That is one buyer. One buyer right there getting those 3 giant boxes, and that's what they specialize in, Heather's Menagerie. And this is why I set up that thing. But I said I was going to reference it later. I wasn't going to talk about too much. But I'll talk about this right now really quick and then get into these other topics and tell you about the screw up I made again. So that, what I say, $580, I think is what we got today out of... Actually, that may not be entirely accurate. That's, I think, just a sales price. I got to deduct some of the other items we sold, but the shipping and stuff in there. But still, that is probably half of what we got. and I paid $130. There's probably $4,000 worth of stuff total if we listed all that stuff and sat and waited. And it'll head out of here for around $1,000, I think, when it's all said and done. Maybe a little more, we'll see. And I paid $130. And I put, so far, work into it, buying it, loading it in the truck, unloading it, and running the show less than 2 hours. So that's pretty good. I'm going to end up paying Jess probably 8 hours. No, not that much. She just did that in less than an hour. We did a show, probably 5 hours in labor for that. And so that was really fun. I'm going to reference this later in the video. It might surprise some of you out there to know that I actually love listing items. Well, caveat. I love listing items that I love to list. Meaning there's some items that I don't necessarily love to list. I'm looking for a Jerry Garcia acoustic band cassette. This one's been listed a while, but it finally sold. Sold for, I think, just under $10, 9 something and change, plus shipping. And that was a deal that was just way too good to pass up, even though I would not have enjoyed listing it. And so that's how we chose to do this, because I find myself to be way more productive when I'm listing stuff that I like. So, and some of you are out there, but, you know, I mean, I'll list stuff that I don't like, but we have so much right now. It's like, hey, this makes sense. Summer's Eve, y'all. Y'all laugh at me. We're down to 3 of these left. Vintage Summer's Eve feminine body bar deodorant cleansing bar. They're not going for much. $8 and change plus shipping. So you may remember a few weeks back, this is, I'm bemoaning my own stupidity for costing me money. And I made a couple of shipping mistakes in the same week, you know, the switcheroo kind of thing. Or shipped the wrong item. I think it was one of each. And I usually, there have been years where I might make that mistake once, sometimes twice. I made it twice in the same week. I think it's the 3rd time this year, which is far more than possible. What I haven't told you is my wife has not been shipping nearly as much. She catches my mistakes often. And right now she's got a wrist injury, and she has not shipped in a while. She's been super busy. And of course, Jess wasn't here. Well, of course, that's live selling, but you know, I don't know. Who knows if she makes mistakes on there? I don't know. But I'm usually pretty careful. And if I don't catch something, my wife will catch it from time to time. But she hasn't been here in shipping for quite a while. And I made those 2 mistakes. And in a video, I think a week or so ago, I said that, look, this is the mistake, and I copped to it and told you all that. In that same video, when I pulled another item, I made another mistake, Star Wars puzzles. And it was a lot of 4 Star Wars puzzles. I'm like, oh, I know where those are. I went back and grabbed them, and I went back here and I shipped them out. And then I got a return request saying, hey, these aren't the right puzzles. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I remembered. It was a totally different set of 4 Star Wars puzzles. And I shipped those out. They were like $35, but they actually bought these, which were a little less. And they're really cool, by the way. Check these out. I love them. Craft Masters, 2 identicals, and then 2 of the Ewok. They're all Return of the Jedi. And I'm like, those are awesome. But, you know, in the picture, I just saw 4 Star Wars things that didn't look really close, and it cost me again. So I have now made 4 mistakes in 2025 shipping that have cost me money. And I have got to do a fail-safe. So for me, and sometimes that's my wife doing it, because she'll double-check, because she knows I make mistakes like that, and I'm going too quick. I've been so busy. But these are going to head out to that person, and I've talked to them a little bit. I don't know if they're going to send the other ones back or not, or if they don't. I hate to do that, you know, just out of inconvenience to them. I paid next to nothing for them, so I'm making money either way. But I can't make that many mistakes in this short of a time period. In less than 30 days, can't make that many mistakes. I don't want to turn into ADH Dave here. That's typically not what we do over here. But I'm also pretty transparent. I want to make sure that people say, hey, because a lot of you make these mistakes too. There'll be some people in the comments that'll say, no, I do this. I have this method and whatever. And I think that's what I got to do. I like a streamlined system. It's why I like this bench and everything exactly where it is. Measuring tape and weight right here. So if I want to write it on the thing, and I'll go across, the tape is right here. And of course the boxes and paper. Paper is here, obviously bubble wrap's back there, American Bubble Boy link below. And so I like the system to flow, but I think what I need to do is put a little sticker right here on top of my printer that says double check the listing. Look at that picture. Instead of reading it and making an assumption, click on that picture or get up really close to it or something and double check. Because, you know, I've probably cost myself with these 4 transactions, probably, you know, with the return shipping or letting them keep the item if it's not that big of a deal or something like that, because I hate to inconvenience people more than I already have. I've at least cost myself $70, $75 this month, which isn't the end of the world. But man, with everything being pinched the way it is, with shipping going up, with cost of materials going up, that I just, you know, I can't imagine. What could I do at the end of the year? If I continue to make those mistakes, we'd be into the hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So do you have a method out there that you can help me out with? Do you have a sticker somewhere, or do you have a method that makes sure you do that double checking? Because I got to do it. Honestly, I think in all the years my wife's been in here helping me, and she, you know, I still do the great majority of eBay, maybe 80% of it, but she does help. And she helps with listing, and she helps with shipping. She hasn't in a while, like I said, but I think I can only remember her making one mistake. So I don't know if I'm going to tell her about this one or not. I don't know. Maybe I will and make her feel good. All right, now I got to remember which one it is here. Night Blooming Jasmine. I think this is the one. It has to be, because there's only one mystery left. Y'all, scents, man, especially when they're new, old stock, this is pretty good right here. It was sold originally for $10.50. And now, I mean, I didn't pay that. I paid maybe 50 cents. It sold for $24.95 plus shipping. I should have kept track of that sale. It still hasn't come out on the Picker channel. I was like 4 weeks ahead. I think I'm backed up to like 5 weeks ahead at this point. Been getting so much video. I might skip ahead to get us more current in some future videos here. That reminds me of something. I have to add to this Filipino flip because I sold 3 card lots over on shopcommons.net for $44 total in profit. $1,487 for that $1,000 buy, and we still have the big ticket items and a ton more to go. We're going to get to the topic of Commerce-Tainment in a little bit. I think this is going to be interesting for a lot of you out there. And this one, I need to double check this too, because I got a few boards up here. So I'm going to make sure I'm getting the right board. But I was at a sale the other day. I'm hoping this one is right. And my dad saw a Monopoly Pokemon game, and I was like, no, I don't think I want that one. He's like, what? It's like, I watched one of your videos, and I was with you, and they're worth whatever. And I was like, yeah, the old one is. That was a new modern one, and they just don't carry that much value unless they're sealed, and even then they're not great. But this is from a game that I bought that was missing a few pieces, so we decided to part it out. We've done okay so far. I only paid a couple bucks for the whole game, and we've already made a profit back. But this board alone, just the board, sold for $15 plus shipping, so I'll take it. More profit. That reminds me, I'm running out, y'all. Looks like there's only 3 of these original mugs left. We don't sell them. We haven't for years. When in doubt, part it out. So we'll do a charity auction with one of those here soon. I gotta go back here and grab this ladder really quick. But speaking of mistakes, this is a minor mistake right here. Where's my little ladder? There it is. You can watch me hopefully not break my neck. And my wife says, why do you put these wooden ones? You're gonna kill yourself out here. And I'm like, no, it'll be all right. I like the old stuff. I don't want to go spend $70 on a little thing I could pick up at a garage sale. Let me lock it out really quick. Anyway, back to making a mistake. There was a buyer yesterday who bought a troll, and there's 3 different purchases over a series of, I don't know how much time. It was in the middle of the night and then in the morning and then later. And I did not look. They didn't buy them all together. They bought 4 of them together. Then there was a sale earlier here and then a sale earlier here, and I shipped that item out without double checking. I could have combined all the orders, but Paul, you have my apologies. I'll combine the rest of these orders and send you a shipping discount. But this was the big one, and I think you got a good deal on this one. I know that seems crazy to some folks when you hear how much it sold for, but this one was one of the rarest ones in there, and it's in pretty darn good shape. Sergeant, what do they call this guy? Sergeant KP Normus, soldier. Iggy, 1964 military, Denmark. This is a damn troll doll. There you go. Damn things. Established 1964. You know, is that a French or is that an American? I don't know. You tell me. Or is it Danish? that one is a really nice sale. Adds to our total from that sale, which also hasn't come out on the bigger channel yet. I think I actually skipped one of the SD cards because this should have come out already. And I think we skipped ahead and then got to go back. But anyway, we're working to get them out as quick as we can, making them a little longer over there. If you've never subscribed to the Commonwealth Picker channel, go check it out. That's us out picking instead of selling here in this shed. So Paul is a returning buyer, and for those of you out there, you can use code Commonwealth and get 5% off any order you buy from us. And now, have I lost my mind? Where did I? Oh, you know what? I started to get low on them, so I put them up here. The Nurse Troll, $24.90. No, excuse me, $24 plus shipping minus 5% because they use code Commonwealth. Did they buy the rest of them? They might have bought the rest of these. Let me just pull them all out. H. Yeah, felt that was in great shape. That one, let's see. I'm trying to figure it out. Doesn't look like these. What did I do? Oh, there's the clothing right there. I knew it had some clothing on it. This one was $16 plus shipping. This one I have to look up. This one was also $16 plus shipping. $15.95 on that one. And then one more back here. And these are all from the 1960s. And all the trolls are gone. Every single one of them. That one right there I think sold for $19 plus shipping. I think that's right. Yeah, $19 plus shipping on that one. So that's a pretty big order, almost $200 plus shipping. We've sold another lot for $300 plus and a bunch of individuals. So that was a fun buy. If you ever see those out there, grab them. All right, I'm going to get to the third topic today, which I've called Commerce-Tainment. You'll see why in a minute. And I'm going to give it a little bit of context first because I tell you what, I like to bring information that is very relevant to the great majority of resellers. And sometimes this topic isn't, but I think it is today. And I'm different than a lot of creators out there who will say, hey, I did it, so can you. Because I know this for a fact. It takes a whirlwind of things to make certain things successful. It's not always just putting the nose to the grindstone. You got to get lucky. You got to have good timing. You got to work hard. You got to have discipline. You got to have all kinds of things to make this stuff work sometimes. And I hate to lead people down a path that doesn't work for them. So I'm very careful when I do those kind of things. But I think this is going to be relevant to people no matter what kind of a reseller you are. There's my context. And Stampin' Up, come to Bethlehem. So we did not list all the Stampin' Up stuff, obviously. But there was some Christmas stuff. I'm like, that looks brand new. It's got the paperwork. I'm like, let's see what it goes for. $20 for that one. Plus shipping. So imagine, now a lot of these don't have cases. They're loose, they're whatever. But man, the research involved in that would have taken me forever because I'm not an expert on it. I'd rather make the quick buck than make a lot more bucks with a ton more time with something that I don't know and I don't love. But I'm happy to pass it on. So with the topic of Commerce-Tainment, you can imagine I'm going to talk a little bit about live selling in this video, but I want to give some context here because I truly do believe that live selling is for a small percentage of resellers. I don't think it is a good fit for most people, but it is a good fit for some people. But when people hear that and live selling, they'll turn off their brains, they'll turn off whatever because they know it's not a good fit for them. So I'm going to look in a bigger context here, and I wouldn't turn this off. I think this is key for all of us out there to hear this information, to do with it what you will, but to hear this information because I don't see live selling taking a bite out of static buy it now selling. I just do not see it. I could be wrong, but I don't see it. But before I do, I'm going to say thank you to Joseph. He says he bought two things, by the way. This is the first one. He says this one's for him and the other one's for his wife. And these are old shadow figures. He says for his collection. These are really cool. These sold for $19. I think that's the coolest part right there. KB choice. $19.95 for those. Plus shipping. And then the other one's back here. But I got to check something first. Okay, I got it. So this little owl purse, I picked it up at a church sale for $1. And I believe, since I just put it in here, it should be right there. And somebody asked me if I had it listed, and I'm like, I think so. And they're like, no, you don't. I'm like, oh, okay, I listed it, and then somebody else bought it. That little, I think Chala maybe, is that the brand? I can't remember, but it was perfect, pristine. There it is right there. And that one, maybe I paid more for that one. I can't remember that sale. Sold for $16.95 plus shipping. So I always expect people to act in their own best interest. And when I watch social media, I make an assumption that everybody who's talking to me on social media is always acting in their best interest. And that should show some bias, not in a negative way sometimes. It should just show us, hey, listen to what everybody's saying, digest it all, but take all of it with a grain of salt. Even me, I do things that are in my best interest all the time. Like, for instance, giving away those action flip cards over on the Pokemon cards over on Diptych Cards. I want people to go over there. I don't make an assumption people are too dumb to figure out that that's what I want by giving away a $200 item for $1. I get that. So I act in my best interest. You guys always, well, maybe not always. I don't always act in my best interest, but I do tend to act in my best interest as far as my business goes. And so for me to come on here and say, yes, everybody should come live sell. It's for everybody, and this is where the new thing is going, and this is going to be great and whatever, and to move everybody over because I want them to go to my live selling platforms is disingenuous. Plus, it's just not right. It's not an accurate statement. And so I've tried to tread lightly on that kind of stuff. I do think that there is massive opportunity in it, but let me give you some numbers that might surprise you that are really, really good for those who choose not to. You see, we tend to look at the reselling pie, and I even talk about things in terms of market share and who's losing market share, who's gaining market share. And I'm critical of certain platforms because they're not doing enough kind of thing. But the overall pie is growing. We've predicted this for a while. You know, the growth rate of that pie might go up and down, or it's not going to go down. It might fluctuate as far as how much growth. But even now, in a world that's had the internet and had online sales for so long, listen to this. This is Amazon just itself, but the overall market, we'll get to in a minute. Year-over-year growth on Amazon is 10%. 10%. On eBay, it's 2%. Well, it fluctuates, but let's just say it's at least 1.5% growth. And I tell my boy, just like batting averages, you know, it's harder to raise your batting average from 300 to 350 than it is from 200 to 250. eBay's got a huge chunk of this pie already, and they're still growing while they're losing market share because everything is growing. And that's kind of the point here that I'm trying to make. Is there is so much growth to be had in all kinds of reselling, and that's good for all of us. Even these other platforms that you may not be interested in is getting people used to the ideas of buying online everything all the time and having it delivered to your door. I think from 2 videos ago, there's a bit of a backlash, and there's a certain counterculture out there who is, let's just say, rejecting that and going back to the, you know, they enjoy shopping. I enjoyed shopping the other day in Stanton, Virginia, going through all the antique shops and the little tchotchke shops and stuff with my wife because we don't do that as much anymore. But the reason we don't is because the cost of doing it online is cheaper than the brick and mortar and all the overhead that goes into it, although the rising shipping costs might hurt that a little bit as well. Slight side note here, global retail, e-commerce, is up 6.9% year over year. That's massive growth for an industry that's already huge. Slightly more than U.S. e-commerce, and it's because we were ahead of the game to begin with at 6.8%. But the Eastern markets are just booming in e-commerce, and they're being driven by, in a lot of cases, by the online live selling, where it really hasn't boomed here yet. You know, we've had the home shopping network, QVC, all that stuff in the past, but we've added these different layers and these niche down marketplaces. But just regular e-commerce retail is going up dramatically. Full year 2025 retail e-commerce 9.8% growth. Walmart 27 to 28% online growth. And a lot of, if you know this, we've talked about it before, but if you have not heard, and that's one that we're going to be talking about, if I had to go start and dabble in something else right now, it would be Walmart. I know a lot of sellers who are doing that, and the growth is enormous, but it was starting from a much smaller base than, you know, Amazon, eBay, whatever. So huge growth. Hey bud, I gotta go inside. Let me get you a treat. That'll get you up. I got a treat. You want a treat? I got a treat. Here you go. Now I don't have to feel bad about waking you up. Are you gonna go? Nope, you're gonna stay in here where it's cool. Come on, go visit your brother. So hopefully people see this for what it's worth. Oh, looks like Ponto's gonna stay outside. It's informational, and I'm gonna give you some anecdotal stuff, but I'm gonna give you some hard numbers as well. I've been very positive about reselling and the growth of it, even though the ups and downs and the challenges for a long time, and I really see it happening right now. Longaberger, Merry Christmas. And this one, I bought a huge Longaberger buyout. And I was there and I saw a few pieces. I started looking, and my first instinct now, just like those Bed Bath & Body Works, just like the Stampin' Up, just like these, my old instincts would be to pick them, to find the best ones, best bang for the buck. But now with live selling, I've changed my patterns, and I'm doing a mix of stuff. So with this one, the deal was so good when they gave me the bundle deal. I'm like, holy moly. And a lot of Longaberger's not great. But when we started looking through these, I'm like, man, these are all pretty good. I said, we're listing them all on eBay. Just list them all over there. Where the Bed Bath & Body Works stuff, you know, the biggest bang for your buck were on the stuff that they don't make anymore. And I was like, you know what, let's just pull out some winners at 25 bucks or so, and the rest we're going to sell over live on Polish and Brush. And I got them for such a good price. I'm going to make money 6 ways from Sunday on those things. Stampin' Up. I thought when I bought them that I would end up listing a lot of them on eBay, but it was so overwhelming, and I've bought so much that we didn't do it that way. So essentially, one, we sold none on eBay, except for one. And the other one we're selling all of them on eBay, and then the other one we're splitting. And it just, whatever fits to make the most amount of money with our current situation in the smallest amount of time. And honestly, folks, I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I could sell every single last one of those Stampin' Ups, every single last one of the Bed Bath & Beyond stuff, which we still have out in the other cabin. And just like I'm doing with these on eBay. And I could do as good or better. You can actually take this method, I've talked about it before. Sometimes we'll do it on Shop Commons and we'll just lot it all up over there and sell it off in one lot. Or just as a static sale. Or we'll do it live, depending on how quick we want it gone. And at what price point, right? But honestly, you could do this stuff anywhere. You could do this strategy. You could take, hey, I'm going to pull out the Longaberger that I know I can at least get 20 bucks for. And the rest of them I'm putting in a giant lot, and I'm fire selling them off for 3, 4, 5 bucks, something like that a piece in a lot, instead of selling them for 11 or 12 individually. And I think with today's shipping, that's a good strategy as well. Could have done the same with these things. We could have lotted them up in a certain size box to make sure the shipping wasn't much, and just pile them in those boxes and sell them off that way. I'm just saying there's opportunities out there for all kinds of people. But I do believe that the live selling growth is there for a specific group of people who have certain qualities about them. And to be honest, I don't really have those. I have a much more storytelling method to my YouTube videos. I'm not, you know, crazy and doing whatever. It's just not my personality. And that sometimes flies on those sites. But I've still found success over there because of the social media following. It doesn't always take that. I'm not saying it does, but the people who have massive growth have like 3 or 4 characteristics about them and their style of sourcing that really make it work for them. But forget that for a minute. Let's look at these numbers, and just keep in mind that the numbers for all online retailing, e-commerce, is growing massively. Even the numbers for people who do it like us, who are selling mostly used merchandise and having a great time doing it, that is going up, and that is something that I'm super excited about. I see growth everywhere. I'm seeing challenges, I'm seeing competition and market share changes, but I'm not seeing an end to this anytime soon. Let's look at these numbers. And this includes everything, all of them, including eBay's Live, which is also growing, TikTok Shop, which that's the interesting part to me, is what's happening over there and where are those people going to end up going? Where are they going already? And how's it going to change, say, Facebook, or how's it going to change these other live selling platforms, eBay as well. So TikTok Shop, Amazon Live, Instagram, Twitch, you know, Poshmark Lives. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on. I keep turning off my camera because I keep reading different things I think are interesting. I'll get to the numbers in a second. This is a summary here of this article. Live e-commerce or commerce in the U.S. grew from a modest beginning in 2018 to nearly $1.75 billion in 2024. We'll talk about that number in a minute when we look at the overall numbers. Poshmark, they give like little characteristics, critiques here. Poshmark remains limited in scale and profitability for many sellers. TikTok Shop and Whatnot are leading in the surge of live seller activity. This is 2024. And broader, eBay, while still a critical resale marketplace, hasn't become a major live platform as of yet, but the growth is starting to happen. Broader social media platforms. And here's why this might explain something I'm going to say at the end here. TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Amazon Live accounting for a growing share of live e-commerce activity, especially via influencer streams and entertainment-style shopping. Entertainment-style shopping, and that, I've talked about it for years with my friend who owned the grocery store. There's two types of buyers, and sometimes that buyer has both characteristics, and that might relate to a lot of us. But there's the experiential buyer, and then there is the necessity buyer. There's the person hunting out what they need, the bargain hunter, the whatever. And they're much more likely to buy things on Buy It Now. But and at different times of the year, certain things are going to surge and certain things are going to fall. I think all of these things we could take into account when we're looking at the overall scale. But the big important part is the pie is growing, y'all. This is not shrinking, it's growing. And if the other part that I think I have right, which is the amount of sellers is not growing at the pace that the pie is growing, that's great news for us. And some people disagree with me, but remember, I pour over. This is the only kind of numbers I like to pour over. I like the macro stuff, as you can tell, because I'm not afraid to lose money on a stupid micro mistake, but whatever. Y'all, 2018, that's not that long ago. The market share was 150 million. I'm hoping this is the right bag right here. Let's hope it is. There it is, Kate Spade bag. This one was nice. I was hoping to get more money, but it did not sell. And it went on 30% off, and it finally sold for $45.47 plus shipping. So look at the growth here. This is, like I said, 150 million in 2018. 2019, 350 million. 2020, 500 million. 2021, 900 million. 2022, 1.3 billion. 2023, 1.55 billion. 2024, 1.748 billion. Projected growth. I think this is low. That's my honest opinion. 2025, $2.279 billion. This is growing. And again, this is not me saying you should do this. I actually think that the great majority of people shouldn't do this. There's all kinds of things that go into it. Your personality being one. If you don't want to do it, my goodness, don't do it. And I think that there is a certain amount of people with a certain amount of charisma, storytelling. They want to be on camera. They want attention. They want whatever, which is really not me. I know that sounds weird because I'm on camera every day, everywhere, across every platform. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. That's just the way I feel. It's not like I'm a showman, right? The idea of me being in theater or something when I was a kid was terrifying to me. But teaching kind of got me through that. I do like to talk to people in the camera, and I do like to get to know people, and I like people, which is good. So that is big growth. It's growing at a far bigger clip than obviously regular static buy it now selling, but I would like to see the numbers year over year. The percentages, of course, are growing, but man, for eBay to get 2% growth in a year, they have such a massive amount of, we could look up the numbers for the biggest platforms and you wouldn't even see these live ones on there, but you're going to start to pretty quick. You could see videos out of East Asia where people are literally selling $1 million of merchandise in an hour. It's insane how it's being done in different places. And they don't have those big competitors and the ease of finding things like we do on Amazon and stuff like that. So it's an interesting thing to pay attention to, even if you're not going to be one of those people. I also see, I hate to say this, maybe this will be the topic of my next video. So I think I'm going to leave this part out, but it'll correspond with this and it'll make this point even stronger. I'll give you some anecdotal stuff. I got to pick some stuff. Let me pick something real quick. This next find was from a sale. See, I've gotten better at certain things like women's stuff. I used to never sell purses, perfumes, and all that. Perfumes was the first thing I got into for but I saw these at a sale. I'm like, huh. And everything was way overpriced for me at that sale, except for these. These turned out to be pretty darn good. Soothing fluid, I don't know, some kind of, I don't know what the heck these things are. Carousel control, frizz control, something like that. And there was a bunch of them, I think a total of 7. And these 3 sold for $63 plus shipping. I think I gave them a little discount or shipping or something. I think they asked for an offer if they bought more than one. I don't remember the number though. So somewhere below $63 plus shipping on those. And like I said, there's 7. As far as Whatnot's growth, it's definitely, well, let me read this. And I don't sell on Whatnot. I made a conscious decision not to for for 5 or 6 different reasons, but we can get into that some other times. From 3 billion GMV in 2024 to projected close to 6 billion in 2025. Dominates U.S. live commerce with revenue of 3.59 million in 2024. So, you know, TikTok Shop has definitely, I mean, let's just face it, no matter what, if you like tariffs, don't like tariffs, like the current president, hate the current, whatever it is, there's one thing for sure, is that marketplace is going to be staggered greatly in this. I have no doubt about that. Things are going to have to shift, change, production, fulfillment, all kinds of things are going to have to change with whatever happens to that platform over there. But it's only going to mean the other platforms grow that much quicker, because people who do this and they like it, they're going to continue to do it. It is something that is to a certain segment of the population, and it's reaching different age groups like we've never seen before. This is the thing that is going to get everybody at every age group into online buying, no matter how they buy it. Buy it now from you off of eBay or wherever, Poshmark, or wherever you sell, or live, or whatever it is. I see nothing but growth. I know I might be Pollyanna-ish here. I don't care. This is the way I see it. I see things growing on every platform for every type of reseller. There are challenges, though. We've talked about them, and one of them is going to be the shift in sourcing. We've talked about it extensively with the thrift stores. I think we need to talk about it in the area of garage sales, which is where I sell, or excuse me, buy. It's where I source most of my stuff. Storage units, different access to different things, buying wholesale, all those things. We'll probably get into do a special video on it, because those are changing too. A lot of people are shifting to sourcing on some of these online live selling platforms. So Amazon live social platforms together with brand apps represent roughly 1/3 of total US live commerce. You know, after not selling these forever, sold everything off except for like 5 different books. And it must be that time of year again. Easy Grammar Grade 5 student workbook. This is going for $10.46 plus shipping. So I hadn't sold them forever, back-to-back sales, and one just came through a little while ago. We'll put on the next video. So don't tell me that, you know, when one item sells after having not sold for, I don't know, a year, and then somebody gets alert, you know, that quantity goes down, they're getting, I better buy it, I better buy it, I better buy it, and then they're going to be all gone. That's good news. Now, obviously, there is a entertainment portion of this, right? And people do it in different ways. Sometimes the entertainment is just purely with speed, nothing else. Speed, boom, 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 and curiosity. Sometimes it's, and this is why a lot of people don't, you know, if there's an entertainment portion of this thing, then 90% of people are out right from the get-go. The last thing they want to do is look up, like, what's that old guy that used to sell baseball cards on TV and the Home Shopping Network? They don't want to turn into hype beast used car salesman out there. It's just not their personality. It's not mine either. I usually just let my items speak for themselves. Every once in a while, I'll hype something up because I know how much I could make by selling this thing, and I'm selling it live right here. But, you know, those aren't the shows I'm necessarily attracted to. I like the speed shows because I'm looking to make money. I'm looking for value. I'm looking for quickness. And a lot of these people who are doing this, there are teams behind them. My team happens to be Jess. A little bit of help from my kids and stuff, but it's very difficult to do this as a one-man show. There's no doubt. And so to have a partner, to have somebody helping you with this makes the show better. And there's all kinds of hints and tricks and tips and stuff that I could give. I'm not going to, because I'm not speaking to that audience right now. Maybe I'll make that video and put it on Garage Sale Nation or something. But And this is from a guy who's not that good at it, to be perfectly honest with you. I try to bring good stuff, move it quickly for good prices, where there's a margin in it for everybody. So it got me thinking about our numbers, year-over-year growth, and these are a little bit distorted because we have 8 Dibdit marketplaces, and 4 of them didn't exist. 3 of them didn't exist last year, so it's hard to do year-over-year numbers. But taking that all into account, our growth on our Dibdit 8 is looking like it's going to be 7x minimum in 1 year, which, starting from a lower point, goes back to the batting average thing. It's a lot easier to have that growth when you're not as big, right? But we're seeing that growth over there in a very small, owned by creator marketplace. And we're doing a few things. We're trying to do promotions and stuff heading into Q4, and that's 7x growth. And there's still no stinking Android app for the dumb thing, except for sellers. And so I'm like, oh, let's get this thing rolling. And I see that as a huge opportunity for a small group of people. But I do see it also as a huge opportunity for a large group of people on the buying and sourcing side. There's people in here that are watching right now who source exclusively on live sales. That's all part of the picture. People have been asking, where's Turner been? I said, he's not cute enough anymore. He's too handsome now to be on here telling kid jokes. They said, no, he's not. We want to see Turner. So here he is right here. A little Commonwealth comedy. What do you got for us?
How do turtles talk to each other?
How do turtles talk to each other? I don't know.
By using shell phones.
Shell phones. That's a terrible joke.
Bye.
All right, a couple things here. One is, I haven't said this, but I've been filming every day. Sales have been pretty good. Today they're slow, so I don't know if I have enough to do 4 straight days of filming. But, you know, I film 3 days in here, and I've got to get out of here because Jess has a bunch more of the live selling stuff that she needs to ship. She's coming in, I think, 2 days this week, so I better get out unless I want to be the one shipping all the live selling stuff, which I do not want to because that takes away from my static selling, which is incredible ROI. And that's part of what I wanted to say today is, listen, there's a lot of noise out there when you hear people and talk about, I wanted to talk about these numbers. These numbers are important. I think this is good information for everybody to have. However, there are certain people out there in the reselling community on social media who are preaching it like it is the only option and you're going to die if you sell over on it. It just simply isn't true. The numbers don't bear it out. This is a growing pool with not a growing amount of sellers. I don't care what anybody tells me. I look at the numbers all the time. There may be some growth, but it's not outpacing the growth that is in all of reselling. It's not, and it's not going to. So I would say this as a word of encouragement for anybody who's reselling in any way that they enjoy thoroughly. Go all in now if you want to, because I think it's going to get better. It's not getting worse. There are certain challenges to certain people who source in certain ways that I think are real. There are challenges with shipping. There are challenges with these platforms themselves, as well as eBay and cost of fees and all that. I still am not going to be negative about this. I just don't see the negativity. I see it positive. Find something you love. And for those of you out there who don't even want growth, you just do this because it's fun. You're retired, you got a pension, you got all this income, you got whatever. Then that's good for you too, because you can continue to do it and continue to make money and continue to stay busy with something you're passionate about. That's really the way I look at it, because when I'm, in my 50s, 60s, I'm going to resell. All this other stuff might fall by the wayside. All of it might be. But I don't see a day where I'm not reselling. As long as I'm healthy and can get out to garage sales, I will be there. That's going to lead me into my topic for the next video, which I'm hesitantly excited about with some negative news, but that's okay. Thank you all for joining us as always. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and doesn't come at you as preaching, because it's not, but I think this information is important to have. And if you want to look at our live selling sites to see the growth, it's ups and downs. It's middle of the summertime right now, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. But year over year, we're doing terrific and having fun doing it. So thank you again for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next time.